right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. Hope you enjoyed the weekend. And what a weekend it was for some football, man. All right. Let's get right into it. Let's dive into it. Let's go over what happened Sunday during your 8 hours of uninterrupted football. You know what I mean? All right, let's start off first with the biggest shocker of the day. A 1 o'clock matchup. The Cowboys were hosting the Saints. And the Cowboys were embarrassed at home, honestly. Yeah, the final score, the Saints whooped them 44-19. Derek Carr went 11 for 16 for 243, two touchdowns and an interception. And he got sacked once. Alvin Kamara carried 20 times for 115 yards and three touchdowns. And he also had a receiving touchdown as well. Rashid Shaheed, another touchdown, four catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. For the Cowboys, Dak went 27 for 39, 293, a touchdown and two picks. Got sacked three times. Yeah, I mean, Cowboys didn't look that great, honestly. Uh, I I think the Cowboys did lose some pieces. Obviously, the Browns weren't able to take advantage of it. The Saints did. Uh, sack. Dak got sacked, three times compared to how many times he got sacked last time against the Browns. Uh, so I think that played a part into it. Also, played a part into it. They were down 14-3 early. That was at the end of the first quarter. That's what they were down by already. So, they were passing more than usual um, from the beginning. So, yeah, we'll see if they can bounce back. I'm going to be honest. I think this was a matchup thing. Saints matched up really good with the Cowboys. Obviously, we know Carolina's not that great, so that's why they've put up these points. I don't know that I don't believe that the Saints will keep this up the rest of the year. Honestly, that's just me. I think they're a decent team. I just don't know if like they're gonna keep scoring. I mean, I was a big Derek Carr fan when he was in with the Raiders and he got paid, got that first contract, but he we'll see if he can keep that up and this offense can keep that up. But good start for them, and thank you for beating the Cowboys. All right, next game, a playoff rematch. The Buccaneers in Detroit. Uh, Baker, another. He had an okay game. Baker did. So Baker went 12 for 19, 185, a touchdown and an interception. And then he rushed five times for 34 yards and got a touchdown. The Buccaneers didn't get much done on the ground. This wasn't like this crazy game, offensive game, obviously, as you can see from the score. Chris Godwin had the big day, seven catches on eight targets for 117 yards and a touchdown. Um, the Jared Goff went 34 for 55 for 307 and two interceptions, no touchdowns. He did not get sacked. Baker got sacked five times, all by eight. Four and a half of them were by Aiden Hutchinson, who had a big day. The Lions fall short. Uh, their kicker missed some kicks, which would have helped them. And yeah, so the Lions fall. They're 1-1. The Buccaneers are 2-0. Bucks are looking okay, but we'll see how the season continues with them. All right. The Colts at Green Bay. This is a game that I picked the Colts, and I was wrong. Green Bay won 16-10. It wasn't a pretty game in general, but it wasn't a pretty game for Anthony Richardson. He went 17 for 34, 204, one touchdown and three interceptions. I felt like every time um, I would tune into that game, he was throwing a pick. Jonathan Taylor had a good game on the ground, 12 carries for 103. And yeah, no receiver really stood out. With Malik Willis making his first start for the Packers, Josh Jacobs had a big day. They leaned on him, 32 rushes for 151 yards. Didn't get a touchdown. Malik Willis went 12 for 14, 122 and a touchdown. They protected him. Only threw 14 times and ran the ball a little more. I think that's how they'll continue to do it. Defense looked better than they did against the Eagles, and they were at home, solid ground. They won 16-10. Anthony Richardson's got a I like the kid, but he's got to tighten it up with some of the things he's doing. Some of it looks sloppy. Um, all right. So the Jets, after losing a Monday night to the Niners, were in Tennessee. Uh, Aaron Rodgers went. They took the win, by the way, 24-17. Aaron Rodgers, 18 for 30, 176 yards and 2 touchdowns. Uh, that was it. Nobody really like stood out. Brees Hall had a 62 on the ground, 52 in the air, and scored in the air as well. Um, two of Aaron's touchdowns went to running backs. Uh, Brees Hall scored in the air. Braylon Allen, the rookie, scored in the air. Um, on the other side, Will Levis went in 19 for 28, 192, a touchdown and interception. He got sacked 4 times. Tony Pollard got 62 on the ground, and Calvin Ridley had a pretty good day. 4 catches on 6 targets, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Also got a rushing touchdown. So Calvin Ridley had a good 2 touchdowns. Jets didn't look all that like great. That they get the win, and that's all that matters. They didn't look crazy great. And Will Levis is still he's doing some things that he shouldn't do, like trying to throw from like his knees instead of just taking the sack. Uh trying to be the hero. But their defense is really good. That's gonna keep them in games and will just, has to make less mistakes than the other team. All right, so we go to Minnesota. The Vikings hosting the 49ers. Both teams were 1-0 going into it. The Vikings at home get a win 23-17. Sam Darnold went 17 for 26, 268, 2 touchdowns and an interception, got sacked 3 times. Um, on the ground, it wasn't Aaron Jones, it was Todd Chandler, 10 carries for 82 yards. Aaron Jones did have 9 carries for 32 yards, but Justin Jefferson had 4 catches, 133 and a touchdown. He did leave late in the game with an injury. The On the 49ers side, they're 1-1 now after losing to the Vikings. 28 for 36 for Brock Purdy, 319, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 6 sacks, 6 sacks. Jordan Mason ran the ball 20 times for 100 yards and a touchdown. So another good day for Jordan Mason. And Debo in the air had 8 catches for 110, and Kittle had 7 catches for 76. Listen, last year the Vikings beat the Niners at home as well, but last year they were missing Devo, they were missing Trent. So, I chucked it up to, they were missing the guys that are a lot different without those two guys. But now I see that this is a this is a Vikings team that will be in things, even though I don't think they're crazy like great, but they will be in games and can give people problems because of this defense. Because Brian Flores has a scheme that it's a lot of disguise and it confuses quarterbacks a little bit, and no one has figured it out. There's a clip of Brock Purdy telling Brian Flores at the end that the scheme is crazy. They were able to pick him up once. They sacked him 6 times, and they made it difficult for him. And it kept, obviously the offense did their enough. They kept them in it, and they got the win. So we'll see what happens to Justin Jefferson, and we'll see what happens with the Niners after this as well. All right, we'll move on. Seahawks at New England. This was a close game. Obviously, New England's defense is going to keep them in it. Their offense isn't really like that crazy, but the Seattle Seahawks won 23-20 in overtime. Gino, 33 for 44, 327 and a touchdown. Uh, DK Metcalf had 10 catches for 129 on the 14 targets. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 117 yards on 12 catches from 16 targets. Those are the big two weapons that Gino was going with. Kenneth Walker was out. They used Charbonnet. He only got 38 on the ground. The New England offense relying on the run again. Ramondre Stevenson rushed 21 times for 81 yards, and Antonio Gibson had 11 rushes for 96 yards. So they rushed mainly. Jacoby, 15 for 27, 149 and a touchdown. So not too flashy, but they are going to run the ball more, and they're going to rely on their defense to do it. But it was a bit of a sloppy game. Speaking of sloppy games, it's the next one we're going to talk about. I won't go into it, but too crazy. But the Commanders hosting the Giants division game. The Commanders won 21-18, but this game was sloppy. Um, I don't understand so far through two games. I get that defenses might be keying in on it, but they haven't been able to get Terry McLaurin going. Malik Neighbors had a great game, 10 for 127 on 18 targets and a touchdown. He's going to be good for them, but he's got to have a quarterback to throw it to him. And I mean, Daniel did his best, but this was just a sloppy game all over, and I won't go into it too much. Another game that's not worth talking is the Chargers in Carolina. They won easily 26-3. Bryce Young didn't look great. Only 18 for 26 for 84 yards. I'm sorry to laugh. Herbert didn't have like a crazy game, but they got it done. They did it on the ground as well. And the Chargers will continue moving on. Uh, Browns, after falling to the Cowboys, go to Jacksonville, and they get a win, 18-13. Wasn't a pretty game. Uh, Deshaun went 22 for 34, 186, so it wasn't pretty for him. Trevor was 14 for 30, 220. No touchdowns, no interceptions for either guy. It was, I mean, it was mostly a defensive game. I mean, not a lot to talk about, but Jags are 0-2, and makes you kind of question, is Doug the guy? That's just me. All right. So we got Raiders going to Baltimore, and this, I guess you could say, if you want to rank it, this is the second shocker of the day. The Raiders go into Baltimore and win 26-23. Gardner Minshew went 30 for 38, a touchdown and interception for 276 yards. Lamar went 21 for 34, 247, a touchdown and an interception. Derrick Henry ran the ball 18 times for 84 yards, and he got a touchdown. Yeah, I don't know. The Raiders just outlasted. That line right now is still trying to get their act together. There's a lot of new pieces, a lot of young pieces, and Mason Crosby was able to take advantage of that. He was in the backfield a lot, and that caused some pressures for Lamar in that offense and played a part. But yeah, I think the Ravens will still be okay. I mean, that's just me, but this was a game I thought they were gonna win when I did the schedule preview, and they didn't. So yeah. All right. 4 o'clock slate. Cardinals hosting the Rams division game, and the Cardinals got out to it. They were 14-0 at the end of the first, and they didn't look back. They won 41-10. Kyler Murray threw for 266 and 3 touchdowns. He made it a point in the first quarter to get to Marvin. Marvin, 4 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I don't think he caught a ball after the first half. And two of them were for where he scored the touchdowns. So he had 2 more catches after that. He was targeted 8 times though, so 50% of his balls thrown at him. Kyler 3 touchdowns. Like I said, 266. He had a perfect quarterback rating that game. Matthew Stafford didn't do crazy bad, but he didn't do enough. 19 for 27, 216. They were just down early and weren't able to look back. Steelers, the Broncos, another sloppy game. I don't even want to talk about this too much, but Bo Nix had 246 and 2 interceptions. Steelers won 13-6. Not a lot to talk about. Um, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, after losing the first game, go to Kansas City. And let me tell you, they were in it. They were in it. They were in it. Um, Unfortunately, another costly penalty late costs them, and Kansas City gets a last minute field goal to win 26-25. Joe Burrow went 23 for 36, 258, two touchdowns. Pat went 18 for 25, 151, two touchdowns and two interceptions. The Bengals defense showed up. They played really good. It's just they made a mistake late. Cam Taylor Britt had the interception of the year so far. I know it's only week two, but that was a really good one-handed interception, leaning back and going, forward. Um, the Chiefs are 2-0. The Bengals are 0-2, but I wouldn't panic on the Bengals. We'll see. All right, Sunday night game. The Texans hosting the Bears. It wasn't a crazy pretty game, but what you can tell is that Caleb is a rookie. He didn't look great. He got sacked 7 times. 7 times he got sacked. That line isn't really that great. I thought they were going to be okay, and they're not so far. He won 23 for 37, 174, no touchdowns and two interceptions. And CJ Stroud went 23 for 36, 260, one touchdown. So it wasn't really crazy pretty, but 19-13 was the final score. The Texans win. Um, and that was your Sunday slate of football. I hope you had fun. There was some messy games. There is a Monday night game tonight. Eagles hosting the Falcons. We'll see how that goes. The Eagles are missing AJ Brown, so we'll see how they do. But we'll talk tomorrow, wrap it all up, and talk about it. All right, guys. Peace out.